What is good, y'all? This is Coach Demo with Freedom Hoops, and I got here my guy,
Coach Dante. What's up,
Coach
everybody?
Dante. Let's go. All right. We coming to you with a coaches training podcast series, and we don't know how many episodes this will be because I don't know about Dante, but I got a lot to say about how we can carry out our mission of cultivating disciples on and off the court. And we just gonna be talking about how we do it on the court and how we can be most effective in the time that we have on Thursday nights.
Yes.
So today we will be talking about 3D coaching the whole athlete, so forming the whole athlete. This is something that Dante spent a lot of time on, coming up with a framework. So give us a little intro to what you've been working on.
Yeah, a 3D coach, as we're putting it, has 3 dimensions. That's what the 3D stands for: mental, athletic, and social. A lot of times when people are kind of looking through the lens of coaching, they focus on one aspect or one dimension. And so, yeah, we're just going to break those down. What does it mean to be 3-dimensional, and what are those dimensions? And I just think with having a framework and a lens that maximizes all dimensions, we get the most out of the kids, the opportunities, most importantly, what we're doing on the court with discipleship at the center. So
Great. That's great. So we have here our series goal is to equip volunteer coaches to see the court as a discipleship space, developing kids mentally, athletically, socially, and spiritually, while living out Freedom Hoops' core values in real time. So without further ado, let's dive in.
let's do it.
Let's dive into the first episode. This is the why, what it means to be a 3-dimensional coach. All right, in this episode, we want to cast vision and help volunteers understand that we're not just running basketball, we're forming young men. It goes deeper than just the court, and that's something we run into when we say Freedom Hoops. What is Freedom Hoops? Well, it goes so much deeper than just the hoops, and I see that at Brush Creek. I know you see that down in Marlboro.
Oh, yeah. We're not just playing basketball. We'll get more into this, but it's really an opportunity to shape lives. And so basketball is a great tool to do that.
Yeah. So at Freedom Hoops, basketball is the tool, but formation is the goal. So question number 1, why do you believe every moment on the court matters?
Wow, that's a beautiful question. I think sometimes just the way we approach life in general, we don't understand that there's so many things influencing us, and we are being formed and shaped by something.
Right.
And so for us at Freedom Hoops, we try to leverage basketball as a tool to form and shape young men. And there are thousands of opportunities. Something practical could be a young man can miss a shot and he loses his confidence and he puts his head down. And a volunteer or a mentor or a coach could just simply, hey man, keep your head up, keep shooting. But what that does to this young man's psyche is build him up.
Right.
And reestablishes just his engagement in whatever, the game or whatever is happening. But that actually, if you zone in on that, was a discipleship moment. And so there's thousands of opportunities like that: missed shot, a celebration, helping a teammate up. There's so many moments that if we maximize, if we're intentional, that could help form and shape kids to look more like Christ. And always keeping that at the center or having that type of lens is helpful.
So what I would add to that, man, was that I look back at myself and I can see a lot of myself in the students. I can see a lot of just men in general in the students, in that a lot of times our identity, whether it be from the culture, how we grew up, the family, whatever, our identity is drawn and connected to that basketball. And how we perform on the court, in a lot of ways, becomes how we think we're performing in life.
Yeah.
If I'm doing good, then I'm on top of the world. If I'm scoring, then if I'm making shots, then I'm the man. If I'm not, look out.
Yeah.
And that's something that I see in these students that we coach, is that a lot of their identity is so wrapped up in the ball. And it's easy to say, you know, hey, just don't think that way. But the culture around them, the environment that they're in, it's just pushing them to make basketball an idol. And I think what we get the opportunity to do is meet them right where they're at.
Oh, yeah.
So in that missed shot, instead of them immediately going down that rabbit hole of I missed a shot, therefore I'm embarrassed in front of all these people, therefore I'm gonna shut down. We get to step in and be like, hey bro, you good? Let's turn the page.
Right.
Let's move on.
Right.
Or maybe they make a mistake of some sort and they come off the court. Maybe they lost the game and they're just dejected. Well, every moment matters as a coach that I'm trying to coach not just the athlete, but the mental side, the spiritual and social. I get to come in and say, no, bro, that's not the end of the world.
Right.
You know, you have one, another opportunity to get out there. But then two, let's work on turning the page on mistakes because mistakes are going to happen in life. So every moment matters on the court because that's where the kids' hearts are.
Yeah.
And maybe you played basketball in college and you got this perspective that like, well, basketball is not everything. Well, that's easy for you to say, but to them, they ain't experienced that. They on the front end of it. Their hunger for it. And also maybe the idolatry of it is still going strong.
Yeah.
So that's something that I've just learned coaching these students.
Yeah. You mentioned the identity thing. I think you see that pretty clear.
Yeah.
And I love the way that Freedom Hoops approaches coaching through these dimensions because it points them back to Jesus, back to the Word of God. And so in these moments, you know, having scriptures to help keep it sticky for them to remember, you know, something simple as iron sharpens iron.
Yeah.
You know, and there's so many moments where you can say that in lines, in a drill, in a game, on the sideline. And so basketball just cultivates these beautiful opportunities, as you were saying, just to restore secure identity in the Lord, point them to the Word of God, point them to Jesus. And all of this is formative. All of this is forming and shaping them. It's so good.
That's good. That's good. Well, that leads into the next one. Well, what's the danger of not doing that? What's the danger of being a one-dimensional coach? Maybe just only coaching athletics.
Yeah.
And if y'all see me sweating, it's hot in here, and I'm a sweaty.
It is hot in here, y'all.
I don't know how you got your beanie on.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. I feel like I want to take it off too, but I got to get that haircut. So.
All right, leave it. You gonna leave it on. All right. So what's the danger of being a one-dimensional coach coming into Freedom Hoops or any space, but specifically our space?
Yeah, I think you're just losing out. That's surface level. If we're only focused on basketball itself, there's so much going on mentally, emotionally, yes, physically as well, but socially and spiritually, there's so much going on. And, you know, I love this word holistic. I think it makes it more holistic when we tap into all the dimensions. And so I think it's deeper formative work. And when you only focus on just the physical side of things and you don't tie that to scripture, you don't tie that to life, it's hard to apply as well. And I think you're not getting the most out of somebody if it's one dimensional. If you truly want to see them be like Jesus, I mean, when we see and look at discipleship, it's holistic. It's all of life. And so it's the same thing on the court. It's all of life on the court, mentally, athletically, spiritually, and tapping into all of those dimensions. And so that's kind of where I would start.
Yeah, that's good. I would add to that if you only coach in the athletic side, it's going to get boring.
Yeah. Yes.
It's going to get boring.
Yes.
Because for us, we've created spaces for anyone to come. And I think that if your heart is, man, I just want to go out and build a team and coach in tournaments and, you know, all the other angles that people are coming from in the coaching world, and you've been there and I've been able to coach a little bit. If you're just coming in with that mindset, we might not be gathering the students for you to really flex those muscles. I think we've created and are protecting a space that is open to anyone, the everyday hooper, the kids that maybe in November they're going to go try out. October they're going to go try out, but maybe they didn't make it, and they need a space, or else they'd be sitting at home playing the video game or getting into God knows what in the streets or with their friends or whatever. So for us, we're finding kids and we're gathering kids that are hungry for more than just the athletic. So it just might not be the space for you if you're only thinking one-dimensionally that way. And then secondly, like you said, bro, it's just more fun.
Yes.
When you hear these kids' stories and they come in and you hear maybe what's going on at home, you hear what things they're walking through or how school is going, you're going to see real quick that if it's just the athletics and this kid ain't gifted, you ain't really got nothing for him.
Right.
I mean, you can maybe pat him on the back until he gets out of high school, but life gonna hit him.
Right.
And I think that those other two dimensions have to be present as we coach the types of students that come through our doors, because God sees them as bigger than just athletes. I think the sports world may have already passed them by. They need someone to step in and start talking to them about the mental dimension, the spiritual, social dimension, and pointing them towards something greater than themselves and greater than the sport.
And that's the transformative work that comes from the inside out, is getting into those other parts, those other dimensions.
Yeah.
And so that's why basketball is such a great hook and tool, is as long as you got activity in your limbs, you don't have to be an NBA superstar. Right. You can get out there, but it's like a bridge. You know, how many times, you know this, we're rebounding for a kid and they are just sharing their whole life story in a 5-minute section as we're shooting the ball and rebounding for them. And that turns into a life-on-life relationship. Right. You know, and so basketball is just, that's why I love the game, because it can just create moments like that to where you can tap in. It started, with the athletic, with me rebounding, but I got into the social, the spiritual, the emotional, you know, the mental, as conversation happened and I kept passing the ball, you know, I keep passing the ball to these young men and getting deeper to those dimensions in those conversations. So it's just a great bridge. So
I don't want to stop on any one key point because we got a lot going on, but man, there's just so much to it. And
there's a lot to say.
Yeah, hopefully this is showing you that there's layers to your leadership at Freedom Hoops as a coach. If you're gonna step on that court, we're trying to open your eyes to the things that you can be doing to connect with kids. I think that the athletic plays a role in that. It allows me, one, to meet the kids where they're at. It also allows me to, you know, tap out that energy. Ain't nothing like putting a kid through a good workout. And then afterwards, they can't do nothing anyway. You can't hoop all day. So then after that, now we get to the real. Hey, what's going on in life?
What's going on?
You just spent yourself, you know, for an hour and a half. We can't hoop all day. Right. What's going on outside of the court?
That's good.
And that's one of the tools I use, the athletic, or especially in that one-on-one or small group training. Let's burn them arms out. Let's get you asking for a break. And that's when the real conversations can start.
Learn a lot about a kid in those moments.
So we want you to remember this. Every interaction is shaping something. Whether we intend it to or not. So every interaction, every moment on the court can be shaping a student to be more like Christ or grow his hunger towards deeper things. Even if you're not saying words, you rebounding for a kid shows consistency. Like it shows presence. I'm here. You're partnering with them in something that they really care about. Which to the world is like, well, that kid may not be doing this or that, but to him, I'm meeting him where he's at. His biggest goal is to be great at basketball. So I'm a partner with him. I'm gonna get in the fire with him. So that builds a relationship. So I want to introduce in this next segment, let's introduce just our framework, the 3 dimensions: mental, athletic, spiritual, and we almost got 4 in there, social, so we can add that too. But that mental aspect, what does it look like to coach thinking and not just skills?
It's a good question. What does it look like to coach thinking and not just skills? The mental side of the game is just as important. Devontae and I were in this group this men's group together, and we talk about how to respond versus react.
Yeah.
And that's the mental side of the game. We see this all the time on TV. A shooter misses his shots and checks out the game, and you just see his game start going downhill.
Yeah.
And you can see that in his body language and his emotions. If we take it a step deeper, what does home look like after a game like that? I remember coming up, if I had a bad game, I wasn't the best brother when I got home. I wasn't the best son when I got home. It affected every aspect of my life.
For real.
And it started with just learning better tools to respond on the mental side of the game. And so that's kind of a great way to look at it, is how can we show these kids in these moments to respond? And in this example that I'm using, teaching them how to get over that, next play, little short phrases like that build them up, but give them those mental muscles to go through.
Yeah.
And that way they lead the game. Sure, they may have not had the best game, but they're working the tools so they don't go downhill.
Right.
So that they can continue to engage in a sport that they love and be a good teammate for the rest of the game and be a good son or whatever, the relationship looks like on the deeper levels, but just responding versus reacting so that they can maximize the game, maximize the opportunity. And that's mental. A lot of the game starts there, all of the great players, all of the great CEOs, all of the great mentors and coaches, they are great at responding in situations versus reacting.
Right. That's good. I would add to that, and that kind of goes with our second question, is how do we help kids slow down, respond well, and learn from mistakes? Love how you put it. I would add on top of that we get the opportunity, when you're thinking mentally and you're learning a kid, you start to learn their tendencies in the same way that I have my own tendencies. And a good point of coaching that I got was to practice your response.
That's good, yeah.
So stimulus, like you said, you can either respond or react. And the space between responding and the stimulus is mentally understanding what may be coming your way.
Yeah.
And your tendencies to respond and practicing a new one. And I think that as a coach on the court, we get to teach them how to assess what happened and start practicing a new response.
Yeah.
And it may take months.
Yeah.
It may take years, but you being there on the court allows them to see it.
Yes.
And start practicing a different response. And that's something that I do with even my little girls at home. It's like, I know they're gonna react in a certain way. So maybe we have a little conversation before we go somewhere, and what that looks like with a student is like, hey, bro, I know whenever your shot doesn't go, you have the tendency to just throw away the rest of your game.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, well, let's practice our response right now. What are you going to do to get yourself out of that? We used to do 2 claps, right? You miss something, it's 2 claps and go. Like, we just go into the next thing. And
that's
maybe
really
it seems awkward,
yeah.
But doing 2 claps is like
snap out of it.
Yeah. And you start practicing with that response. Well, then I start seeing kids 2 claps and sprinting back instead of what I used to see them do. They miss a shot and they just like this.
Right.
So that mental aspect of coaching thinking and not just their skills is like just training their mind in the same way that you would train their skills.
Yeah.
So let's hop into the athletic. What does effort, or why does effort, fundamentals, and discipline still matter when it comes to athletics?
Yeah, it's part of my pastor used to tell me, my pastor tells me this, like, starting from the mental, I even love how we got these going in order like this, the mental, athletic, and then spiritual. I'm thinking, he puts it in this framework, which is easy for me to remember, it goes from our head to our heart to our hands. And this is like the hands part.
Yeah.
We got to practice,
Shout out the pastor.
Like we got to practice these things in a real way. Like, I love your example of the 2 claps. That's sure, we may not be in a drill, but we're practicing physically, resetting, responding versus reacting. and letting that deeper work be extended out through our outward actions. And so that comes in a lot of ways through our drills. You're not just running lines for the sake of running lines.
Right.
You're not just, hammering these fundamentals. You need to do this layup this way for the sake of that. You're learning so much. Discipline, perseverance, attention to detail that transfers to the classroom, that transfers to relationships, that transfers in your walk with Jesus, all of life, right? And so the athletic side of things is where we get to practice those things. And they are also the fruit of what is inside us. Because if you don't have it mentally, it's going to come out athletically. If you don't know who you are mentally, when you miss that shot and you do the 2 claps, it's going to come out. Right. You know what? That 2 claps didn't work for me. But if you,
sometimes it don't.
But if you do know who you are and you practice those responses and build those muscles, it comes out. Hey, short memory, next play, and you're going to run. A game, the basketball's a game of runs. But it's practicing, like you said, the 2 claps. It's practicing working those mental muscles, and then it comes out athletically, and that's just as important. That's the fruit of what's going on inside. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, those rhythms that you have. There's that phrase. When you're squeezed, you fall back to, I'm butchering it, but you don't fall back to the things you've been practicing once or twice. You fall back to
that
what's
part
really there.
Yes, that part.
The fundamentals.
Mm-hmm.
You ain't gonna rise to exceed your training. You know what I'm saying? When you get squeezed, you're gonna go back to what's there. And I think the mental coaching, but also those fundamentals on the court, the little disciplines that you have, the work you put in, the training you put in. And I think that speaks to us as volunteers with what we do, of like none of our kids and none of the pros even are graduating from the fundamentals.
Right.
I played high level basketball, you played high level basketball, and the stuff that we're going to teach at Freedom is just going to be pretty simple, foundational, but that's where the biggest return is. So when it comes to their effort, the fundamentals, the disciplines to do the right thing and make the right play, they're never gonna graduate from it.
Yeah.
It's gonna be there. So be ready to coach that.
Yeah. And the athletic side is also part of discipleship.
Right.
We are also supposed to demonstrate our faith, live out our faith, walk out our faith. And so, on the basketball court, you can see somebody that's secure themselves. That's a man worth following. Right. People notice that, why are you secure? Well, I respond versus react. I'm locked in here. I know who I'm playing for, right. And that comes out in my play. Right. That's people want to follow that, so.
That's good. Here's a big one. How do we teach excellence without idolizing winning in our spaces?
Whoa, that's a big question.
That's a big one.
Yeah, that's a big question. How do we teach excellence without idolizing winning?
When it comes to this athletic dimension.
Yeah. The way we look at winning is not on a scoreboard or a stat sheet. The way we look at winning is, are you getting better mentally, athletically, spiritually? Are you being formed in the image of Jesus? And is that happening one brick at a time? Basketball terminology, one play at a time. That's a win.
Yeah.
Are you growing? And sure, we may have some setbacks, but are we getting up, responding versus reacting? And are we moving forward to looking more like Jesus? And again, basketball is just the classroom. Right. But are we learning, growing, and moving toward Him? That's how Freedom Hoops, that's how we as coaches define winning. And so that trickles into everything. Yeah. Sure, bro, you missed 5 shots today. Look how you responded. Right. You lost all your games, but you didn't react like you did last week. bro, that's a win.
Yeah.
That's a win. That's winning in Freedom Hoops. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. I think part of teaching excellence as well, like it's just like you said, is being ready to encourage those things and upholding a culture that doesn't just talk about, you know, not idolizing winning, but like we actually do things and take action towards not idolizing winning. What I mean by that is, are we celebrating one another?
Yeah.
That's how you teach the students
That's excellence.
that it's bigger than
Mhm.
just winning.
Yeah.
Is the only time you can hype as a volunteer is when your team is winning.
Yeah.
Is the only time you can see you coaching or getting enthusiastic about something is just when we're on the court hooping? Or do you take your faith and get just as excited about like sharing a nugget like that on the court with a kid? Like, do you get excited about that? Or are your actions just saying like, all we care about is winning? Are you, I mean, I've seen it, like, are you just on the sidelines, like making little comments at the kids at mistakes? Are you coaching in a way that undermines your position as a Freedom Hoops volunteer as you coach against the other team that you're playing against, and that you start tearing them down or finding every way you can to get these small little subtle advantages? It's those types of things that either teach what we're talking about or teach people to idolize basketball and winning.
Yeah.
So it's much less of what you do explicitly. I think it's just, are you upholding the culture that celebrates things outside of winning?
Yeah.
I'm down to celebrate competing. Are we competing?
Yes.
But winning, it's like we play 3 to 5 minute games. We get up and down. We try to coach a little bit, as they go. But if we just count wins, that's a huge miss. I think there's a lot of other things we can celebrate on a Thursday night. So with that, let's hop into the spiritual side. The spiritual side.
Here we go, y'all.
Here we go.
Yeah.
So the spiritual aspect of being a three-dimensional coach. Give me like a general like thought process on what that is, the spiritual aspect. When we talk about it within Freedom Hoops on a Thursday night, and then taking that off the court as well.
Yeah, so there is a spiritual element to basketball, because everything that we do, whatever we put our hands and feet to, is worship unto God. And so this is God-given talent every Thursday that these guys can play. This is activity of limbs that they are blessed with, that we need to maximize for glorifying God. And all of that is worship to God. The fact that we can come and play basketball and use the talent that He's blessed us with for His glory is a good thing. Right. And so there's a spiritual component to that. That should motivate me that, wow, you know what? I'm shooting this shot, not for myself, but for Him. And I want to do it in the most excellent way I can. Because this shot I'm shooting, or this line that I'm running, or this game that I'm playing is an act of worship to God. There's that's the spiritual component. And so everything can be pointed back to the Word of God as well, to how we're supposed to live as followers of Jesus. And so there's just lots of opportunities for that spiritual development that cross over into life, classroom, at home. But again, most importantly, their formation as a follower of Jesus. And so that's kind of how I look at basketball.
Right.
I look at basketball that way.
That's kind of a hard question.
Yeah, I'm like, it's just the way I see it, Right. But it's good to ask this, because if you're not looking at it that way, to your point earlier, it's just like you get caught up. And I did in a season of my life of coaching. And that's why I could speak with conviction behind this, because I didn't look at basketball that way. Right. It was about the stats, the trophies, and the wins. And when I got those things, it didn't make me a better man. Right. And it didn't move anything inside of me.
Didn't they?
I remember winning a championship at a high level and at the high of highs, and the next day saying, now what?
Right.
Because I didn't have the right lens. And when I got the right lens, it changed the game for me. And it will change the game for these kids if we look at it through a spiritual dimension.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's where, I don't like using this word, but that's where the magic happens. That's where the deep, formative, true, transformational work actually happens. And when you put basketball and Jesus together, oh my gosh, like it's powerful.
Yeah.
But you got to look at it that way.
Right.
So I don't even know if did we breach the question right there,
I
but
feel like we did a little bit,
Yeah.
but I think it gives perspective to someone as they can watch this and see the passion to which we bring to it,
yeah.
and how we don't disconnect the two.
Yeah, it's so connected. Yeah, that's
So
a great way to put it.
For
Yeah.
me, I think that basketball becomes the conduit that I push the spiritual through.
Amen.
You know,
Yeah.
like
Mhm.
they're so well connected through that conduit that like, but it's taken practice in that to bring Christ to the court. But basketball becomes the bridge to which I deliver kingdom truths. And,
Amen.
some of these are like breath truths, meaning
Yeah.
I could say the whole thing in like half a sentence. And then some of them are times where I could be like, hey, bro, are you like giving all that you can?
Yes.
Like, are you working heartily as if unto the Lord and not unto
Yes.
men
Mm-hmm.
in this? Like, are you caring about what everybody else thinks?
Mm-hmm.
Or are you focused on pleasing God with your effort?
That part.
You know what I'm saying? Or in Hebrews, it's like no discipline seems fun at the time. Instead, it's painful.
Yeah.
But later on, however, it produces a harvest of righteousness and peace for
Yeah.
those who are trained by it.
Mm.
So are you seeing this
Mhm.
discipline or these fundamentals or these drills as like punishment?
Mhm.
Well, they are painful.
Yeah.
But they'll produce more of what you want.
Yeah.
If you don't want that, well then you don't have to go through
Yeah.
this pain. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I just think that there's ways that you can explicitly bring the word to court or to the court, meaning you got that verse and that address ready.
Yeah.
Some of it is just little, condensing it in a way that they can understand it. And I
Yeah.
think it connects where their heart is on the basketball court
Yeah.
to something that's bigger. So basketball is the conduit for the spiritual.
And we have our like more formal intentional thing where we're intentional about all these things, but also like there's the family room.
Yeah.
Like we are opening up the Bible
Yeah.
and discovering truths together.
Mhm.
And how does this apply in all of our lives? The Jesus nuggets, the prayers, like these are all spiritual components that a coach is helping coach them and that we need to be doing ourselves as well. So
Good. And I think a practical for a volunteer to begin doing is just repeat the nugget
yeah,
at the beginning of like the
Mhm.
beginning huddle.
yeah,
Ask that question again, or something that if you get our curriculum for the month or the quarter or whatever, read that mug before and be ready to ask one of those questions on the court. Connect it to the court in some type of way. So maybe you're not like Dante and myself, where you've done basketball ministry for a while, but you can just lean on us and start reiterating some of those questions that you've
Mhm.
heard, or bringing up some of the scriptures that we talked about in the room in previous weeks, every week.
yeah,
It's a practical way to do it. So the main point here is that we don't add discipleship after basketball.
Mm.
Discipleship happens through basketball. We say cultivate disciples on the court and off the court.
on and off.
So bring Christ to the court, and how you coach and how you conduct yourselves and how you prepare. And that'll kind of lead us into this last part of this episode, which is reframing the coach role. So the first question that I'll ask is, how does seeing yourself as a mentor change how you show up? So we're coaches, but how does seeing yourself as a three-dimensional coach or mentor change how a volunteer should approach the game, should approach a Thursday?
Yeah. Yeah, the approach matters. Number one, just looking at it through this framework,
Mhm.
mental, athletic, spiritual. We're not just coming to open gym. It's bigger and it's more than that. And so just number one, just the lens of how you are coming to these Thursdays. We need to be looking at it as we are shepherding souls. We are leaders. Me and Devontae talked about this before we shot the episode. Paul's famous words, come follow me as I follow him. Follow Jesus, And so we are, as volunteers and coaches, even Devontae and ourselves, the way we're coming at this is, hey, like, follow me as I'm following him. And then another thing is this is a big deal to the kids. And so just don't treat it casually. Man, like the handshakes you guys have, the hugs and the smiles. I've talked with a few Vols, and you may not be, a coach or the most athletic, and there's just so much more. There's so much happening that goes into this, and so from all of our serve teams, even the coaches, when they're on the sidelines, sitting next, just being a peaceful presence. Right. Sometimes just your presence does so much for these young men. But I think just approaching these Thursdays just with care and love, wholeheartedness, honesty, and humility, because you care about them and you want to see them encounter Jesus and look like Jesus. Like just looking at these Thursdays that way, in the same way where we're talking about as a coach, looking at the basketball portion at a deeper level, just the Thursday program itself, like just come in with that lens that I'm here to, help cultivate an environment, an atmosphere where they are going to meet Jesus. And so, yeah, the way I shake somebody's hands, hug somebody, dap somebody up, look at them, sit next to them, play basketball with them, eat with them, open the word with them, like that's important. It's not, I don't think we should be casual about that.
Agreed.
We're doing kingdom work, and we are pointing these young men to a man that will change their life. That is not a small thing. Yeah. And so the level of, I ain't trying to get us all super serious, but that's a big deal.
Yeah, it is a big deal.
That's a big deal.
Yeah.
And so don't come in casual about it. Don't come in casual about it, because that's how you get casualties.
Right.
And I want to be a program where we're giving courage and care and connecting kids to Jesus.
Right.
So
that's good. I love all those things you mentioned, how you widened it just beyond the people who are serving on the court. And the first point you made was this matters to the kid.
Yeah.
Like, what does it communicate when something really matters for someone and you come in casual?
Man, yeah.
Like
this is their NBA finals.
For real. And we don't say that lightly. Yeah. Like, these kids will battle on the court. One of your first times you hosted at Marlboro, you saw it.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
You saw real tears.
Yeah, real tears.
From one of the tallest dudes in
yes.
In the
yeah, life and death for these kids. Yeah.
And it's not casual. I love how you talked about the court, but I also like how you talked about your other serve teams and even the guys that are standing near the court. But there's value in the people even sitting there watching.
Yes.
Hey, bro, I saw you didn't do that.
It's a big deal.
I was here for that moment. You made that shot, or you crossed them over, or we had something last week where one of our seventh graders, he crossed over one of our high school kids who was picking up full court, and he made him fall. But just being there for that moment, and this high schooler can hoop. But just being there for that moment and hyping that kid up. And then this high schooler in the celebrations went and dapped up the kid and said, like, Hey, bro, you hyped me up. But all of us adults and volunteers got to surround both of them,
Come
surround the
on.
young guy,
Yeah,
and like
yeah.
just show that love because it does matter to them.
It does.
So to be there for that moment,
Hmm.
matching that energy shows that you care.
Yeah,
Shows you care.
yeah.
So, what you were saying though was you're not just a coach.
Not just a coach.
You're not just a coach. It goes deeper. Maybe some of the surface level, and we talked about this before pressing record, but um, it shows that you're taking it serious and that it goes deeper than just basketball. When you do things like showing up early, when you're being responsible to the mission of
Mm-hmm.
the night, when you come prepared, golly, a big part of I feel like so much is lost in coaching
Hmm.
because coaches expect students to be prepared,
Yeah,
but they don't do the hard work to do their homework and prepare.
come on.
And we do a lot of preparation as a staff
Yeah.
for Thursday nights
Mhm.
to set up volunteers. But man, what a disservice would it be if volunteers didn't come prepared,
Yeah,
ready to serve,
yeah.
eyes open to the ministry and the three dimensions, but just eyes open to see the kids
Yeah.
and meet them where they're at.
Mm.
How you carry yourself. Man, are you a peacemaker?
Yes.
Are you a leader in this space? Or are you just being passive? You know? Are you really trying to step in and the things that you hear in trainings or in this video, are you actively trying to do it? Or are you just
Mhm.
waiting for someone to see you not doing it
Mm.
to ask you to do it before you do it? We're all
Mm.
carrying this together. Are you consistent? Are you consistent in your conduct? Are you doing what you're asking students to do?
Real talk.
And then if you have a standard that you have, are you holding that standard consistently, even if it means like you looking like, the correction police?
Real talk.
I'm holding the standard. I'm holding the
Hmm.
culture.
Oh yeah.
Now I don't got to do it in a crazy way,
Hmm.
but man, I'm gonna hold that standard. Is the energy that you're asking the kids to bring, are you bringing that? Or your facial expressions and nonverbals, like creating a positive, encouraging environment,
Yes.
you know?
Smile.
Smile.
Talking to myself too.
Yeah. Yeah, I got a pretty intense face. So, are you
Mm.
humble? You know,
Mm.
do you have a genuine? Maybe you don't know the kids all the way, but do you have a genuine love and care for the
Yes.
students?
Wholehearted and pure-hearted.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like put your expectations of them aside. Put your preferences aside.
Hmm.
Put maybe even what you may think or think about them aside. Like, do you care for them? When you look at them, are you, I call it mining for gold?
Yeah.
Like, am I looking with a positive view on them and all they can be?
Mm.
Like, am I trying to see them how God sees them? Or am I just looking at all their mistakes and mishaps that they've made
Yeah.
and making a judgment on them?
Mm.
These are just questions to ask. Um, and then, you talked about, are you in connection mode or protection mode?
Yeah.
Maybe we can finish with that one before we head into closing.
Yeah. Are you, you know, outward focused, leaning in, initiating, trying to build relationship, or are you guarded? Are you inward? Are you protecting? What mode are you coming in on? And connection mode is where the care and the courage and the transformation starts to happen, and where it flows and moves is when we're in connection mode. And so when you're in connection mode, you're leaning in, you're listening, you're outward focused, you're looking out, you're aware, you're sensitive, versus protection, where you're guarded and isolating and pulling the energy down. You know, the way the way we come in matters, y'all. All that matters. We feel that with each other, and if we feel that with each other, you sure know the kids feel that way. And so, just some good language to summarize all of these great questions and examples is that, like, connection versus protection mode. So
That's great. That's great. So as we close, here's the reality of what we're looking at, and we can talk about this in other trainings. We talk about this a little bit in our onboarding training, but um, for our students coming in, we know a lot of their stories, but maybe
Mhm.
you don't. As you interact with kids, have become more aware of generally what a lot of our kids are facing. But on a Thursday night at Marlboro, Brush Creek, or wherever else we may be one of the most consistent things that they have going in their week.
Mm.
And that's not to say that we're to pat ourselves on the back or give us the honor and praise. God is doing this, but man, if you step into some of our staff meetings and hear about some of the things that our kids are going through
Ooh-wee.
and some of
Mhm.
the home situations that they have, it's no surprise that students when they step into Freedom Hoops on a Thursday night, they feel that family
Mhm.
environment, like they long to be there. I'll be pulling up to Brush Creek, and kids be hopping off of metro buses, sprinting into the
Wow.
gym
Yeah.
because they want to be there.
Yeah.
And man, it's just a space that the Lord has created for them to encounter God in many ways on the
Mhm.
court, in the Word, but a lot of ways it's through you and through your
Mhm.
presence there. So
Mhm.
the reality of it is you may be one of the most consistent adult voices that they have,
Mhm.
and we don't take that lightly. That's why
Mhm.
we're talking about all this stuff.
Yeah.
And then to close with that, the second reality is while this episode has a ton of content and information on it, God never called us to be perfect. Dante ain't perfect.
No.
I'm
No.
not perfect. Mike Loney's not perfect. Nothing about us is perfect, but we just need to pursue just being
Mhm.
present in the spaces that he calls us to. And he's
Mhm.
called you to serve at Freedom Hoops,
Yeah.
at least for this season.
Yeah.
He's placed us here.
Yeah.
And while we can't bring no perfection, we can at least be
Mhm.
present
Yeah.
and we can be prepared and we can be prayed up.
Mhm.
And from there, we're trusting that God will move. And man, as we've engaged on Thursday nights
Yeah.
in the Marlboro community, Brush Creek
Mhm.
community, we're seeing a move through
Mhm.
imperfect people.
Amen.
So,
Amen.
with that, here's some reflections for you guys to think about. Which dimension, mental, athletic, spiritual, do you naturally lean toward
Mm.
and why? Maybe some reasons why that is. And then, which one do you need to grow in your service at Freedom Hoops?
Mm.
And how can you practically start to practice that this next Thursday? So,
Mm.
for episode 1, that's it. You got anything else?
This was fire.
This was
This
fire.
was fire.
But
Get your notepad out, y'all. This was get in your journal, reflect. This was fire.
This is
So
good.
yeah.
This is good. So, in the next episode, we'll be talking about the how. We talked about the why, the how, living out our core values on the
Mm.
court. That'll be a great conversation.
Looking forward to it.
We'll see y'all soon.